Hi, my name is Timothytrespas, and I'm a human being who's found himself targeted with morgellons, tortured, gang stalked, and the whole thing for many years now. Hardcore craziness for about 8 years, and it's taking its toll. I haven't made a video in a while, and the reason is because of the effectiveness of the mind programming that I'm forced to endure, and the resultant fear and shame and embarrassment and confusion. And the fact is this, that I've been keeping quiet about this for quite some time now, because I will document and publish any gang stalking or anything that I find out of the ordinary, and they know this. So how do you affect someone in a way that they won't talk about it? Well, make their partner go crazy, and that's basically what's going on. Is Petra is going insane, worse even than myself. She's constantly talking to the voices on the broadcast, yelling, screaming, throwing stuff, freaking out about the morgellons in the air and the stuff that goes down on your skin and the creepy crawly little, she goes insane, and she believes all of these things that are not true, that somehow, that I'm from a rich family. My family doesn't have any money. That all this stuff, it's just insane. That I'm married to other people. That it just goes on and on and on. And the fights that we have are like, either she's gonna get committed or I'm gonna get committed, so that I don't end up killing her. Literally, that's how. I try to be humble, I try to be compassionate, I try to be caring, I try to be, but okay, this machine, this computer system, this learning algorithmic human brain mapping system that we're exposed to, knows everything about me. It knows my likes, my dislikes, my strengths, and my weaknesses. So what better way to use those things as a weapon against one than to make their partner act in all the ways that they can't stand? The anxiety from the screaming, and the frustration, and the being accused of every time. She can't remember anything. She puts something down. Where is it? They stole it. No, you stole it from me, so I'll be upset. Stop playing tricks on me. Give it back. It never ends. And there's been so many fights and so now, okay, here's the deal. On the 1st of June, Petra's father, who I considered a saint because he would send Petra money to pay the rent, to make sure that Petra did not end up in the street. And my parents won't do that, can't do that. There's reasons he was able to, and whatever, he lives in a different country, etc, etc, etc. So anyway, on the 1st of the month, the man is in his house, he's 90, whatever, and he falls down and hits his head badly. We don't know how long he was laying there. Eventually he managed to get help. When they took him to the hospital, his brain was swelling. They asked him, "Do you want us to reduce the swelling?" He said, "No, let me die." And he died. Now, where does that leave us? Well, Petra doesn't believe he's dead. Petra thinks that it's a big conspiracy with her family and whatever. I don't know. I tend to doubt that, since most of the things that she says to me aren't true, and I know, then I have to assume that. So then, just over 2 weeks later, on Father's Day, my father, who's 80 something, the only one in my family who would give me a dime, who would cross the street to piss on me if I was on fire. I mean, you know, the guy has seen all this crap and didn't turn against me. When I used to blame him for the gang stalking and you know, he was calm. He said, "Really? Why do you feel that way?" And we talked about it, and I came to an understanding that I'm wrong. This is a manipulation that's being done by these people in order to make me turn against the only people in my life that would care for me, or help me, or love me, or provide any type of support, emotional or financial, whatever. So, anyway, my father, he lays on the ground, we don't know for how long, in the basement. He really banged himself up bad. He got a multiple concussion, counter-coup injury, you know. And my mother was away for the weekend, and she came home, and he was downstairs, and she said, "Hey, you coming upstairs?" He said, "Yeah, I'll be up in a minute." Excuse me. So a couple hours later, she asks again, because he always does things like this, you know, doing his paperwork or whatever. "You coming up?" "I'll be up in a minute." So a couple hours go by. She finally goes down there and finds him on the ground in a puddle of his own blood. That's all she would tell me, that he's confused, and they decided to call the ambulance and take him to the hospital, and he was in the hospital for a month. He had pneumonia, which he said he didn't feel sick at all. He had no idea there was anything wrong with him. And they put in a pacemaker because he had a weak heart rate, and gave him physical therapy and brought him back to... My father is suffering from dementia, what they call pseudo-dementia, because they don't know where it's coming from, because he doesn't have amyloid protein or whatever, you know. So, and okay, the men were both old, and falls happen in the home every day, but as someone who's seen so much manipulation, I don't know what to believe. I mean, to me it seems like just another, you know, I know they can zap me in my house because they do it to me all the time. They do it in the street, they do it here, there, everywhere, and my brain is... So, you know, I can't even remember what I'm talking about. This is a good day. So this morning, you know, I have to take medication to sleep because it's been 3 months, 7 years. See, I don't even know what I'm talking about. It's been 7 years since I sleep, since they started this, when I used to have teeth. And so I take these medications to sleep. I'm starting to sound like my father. And Petra wakes me up over and over and over again, screaming. So the landlady has us in court to evict us because she cannot deal with the screaming and the yelling in the middle of the night, banging and cleaning and going crazy that Petra creates, and the fighting that, and she wants us out, which is understandable. Now, this is all happening, you know, in the one time where we don't have money. Everybody who could help us has been killed or injured. And I take her to welfare, and we go through 2 months, 3 months of appointments and mental health assessments and able body assessments, and we're supposed to get a little check for $215 to pay the rent. So I didn't give her the $200 last month because I didn't have it, because my disability is $450. I went to disability right away. Oh, we'll have it in 15 days. No, 3 months it took them, 4 months. And they claim they're going to finally raise my money to $700, which is the most they could give. Great, that will just cover the rent. So now I owe this lady money. $600 for the rent, $200 for last month, then $240 for the bills, $6, $7, $8, $9,000. So I got $470 in the bank. Petra, after I tell her don't touch the money in the bank, decides to take out $200 because she needs money. Great, you know, like I go to this woman. We got to go back to court on the 20th, and I explain to her, listen, you can get us out. We'll be gone within a month or two. After going back and forth to court, you'll make your claim, I'll make my counterclaim, the judge will hold all the money, and then they'll decide. And, you know, one way or another. And I said, what do you think? If you were me, would you give me your last dollars if you had to go to the street with all your stuff and find storage and etc.? And I said, listen, we can make an agreement. I'm waiting for housing for mental health, people with mental disabilities, which is what I have now. I have been formally adjudicated as mentally unstable, whatever you want to say. I am now officially crazy. So that's great, you know. And that's a whole nother story, you know, coming to terms with all this. But see, so this morning Petra wakes me up screaming again about the money is stolen out of her wallet. This is something that happens every day, and it's always there, you know, and I lose it. I cannot deal with this anymore. The pressure of trying to make an agreement with this woman to let us stay a few more months and give her the money we owe her so that maybe I can get this housing, and if not, then maybe I can save a couple $100 so that I'm, you know, and so we're screaming and fighting, and I'm afraid I'm gonna hurt her. That's how upset I am. That's how much, you know, years of me saying, oh, don't worry about it, 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 it's okay, whatever, 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 we'll work it out, it's gonna be fine. So I really don't know what to do at this point. My options are take a few things, take what little money I have, and run. And leave this whole mess to them and figure it out. Not very nice. But or stay and try to work this out with her and try to pay her and try to get a few more months. She may say no, you know, because she doesn't always tell the truth about things, and it's obvious. So I don't know when she's telling the truth or not. Anyway, I'm too confused, I'm too upset, and I'm not making a whole lot of sense anymore. And I know the rest of you are having problems too, so thank you for watching, thank you for caring. God bless you in your struggle. And may He do better for you than He does for me. I don't know. The whole thing about God is a whole nother issue that I should make a separate video about, because things keep happening to me all the time. Like the other day I said, you know, I really need some t-shirts, and the next day I find somebody throws out a whole bag of like almost new stuff that, so I take, you know, these things happen to me all the time. I'm not going to go through the list, but it's like I think about something, and if I need it and it's good for me, frequently it happens. So I'm praying that we'll get this supportive housing, and that all the hoops that one has to jump through, and the interviews and the approvals and the documentation and all this stuff will, you know, because I can get housing, but Petra's not in the program. So, you know, I don't see this going well when she starts screaming and yelling and banging and throwing shit, and we start fighting, and she goes crazy cleaning and using up everybody's shampoo and whatever. Anyway, it's all such small things when you look at it from the perspective of everything that we've been through, but sometimes this life is just too much for me. And what choice do we have, you know? Anyway, message of hope and promise and faith, yeah. That's what they're saying in my head. Blah, blah, blah. Thank you for watching. God bless you all.